the Clubhouse Reps. I'm Kate Anderson. That's Lucas Holben. It's been a rough couple days here for the D-backs. It was a good Sunday for the Cards, but we're going to talk some MLB, some NFL, some NCAA. But let's get into the MLB side of things. Postseason is nearing. We are less than 11 games out from the postseason. Lucas, what's been your take the last?
It hasn't been
7 or
good.
8 days
Definitely
from the
been
D-backs play.
struggling the last week. I think kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, potentially putting ourselves in a position to miss the playoffs as a whole, which would be quite a bummer. But I think as of the moment, we have that third wild card spot. We're tied with the Mets. I think they have the series on us though, so kind of in a tough spot, especially with that Braves team, which is lurking to get up there. So that's not looking great. Just to kind of overview the last few games. That Rangers series, things look pretty good. I really love the pitching. I was feeling, really, really confident, but man, everything just fell apart in that really game one. Or no, it wasn't game one. That was a close game, but man, a tough loss game one against the Brewers. Erod had a pretty dominant game. I've been feeling pretty good about our pitching. He had 7 Ks, so that was great. Jumping into that second game, we got murdered. We think we're down like 12, 11, 13-0 at one point. Ended up kind of coming back.
Yeah, I would say some garbage runs there at the end, just with the Brewers kind of back into their bullpen.
Yeah.
So maybe
we
not
got
as
the W,
certainly
and
was not ever
probably
close.
one of the games of the years. Did you watch that Brewers D-backs game 3? I don't know your thoughts on that.
I did watch. That was the only game I actually got to fully sit down and watch. It was a great game. J Mart was in there for a while, and kind of those last couple innings on the 10th inning let up 2 runs, and then Gino walks it off
Yep.
with that kind of the infield or the outfield was playing in, and he hit it off the wall next to the pool. But this was kind of a game where they were up 5-0, and then they're down 8-5, and then they tied it 8-8, and then gave up 2 runs in the 10th, and then obviously scored 3. But back to the bullpen, and like you said before, bullpen's been the worst bullpen in the league in all of September.
Yep.
I think they're north of 7 at 7 ERA, 7.4, if I'm correct, and then. That was on Sunday. So that was it wasn't a great series. I mean, it really was the pitching, and it was surprising to see that the pitching was really good. Erod, obviously, we saw today, he was very good. I think he pitched 6.1, 2 earned runs.
Yeah.
I think he had 11 Ks, and he's not a strikeout guy. He's a contact pitcher, so that's good to see. He's maybe picking up the slack with Ryan Nelson on the 15-day IL, and so I honestly wasn't too upset with that loss 1-2. The bats. I'm okay with the bats going cold.
Yeah,
It's really more
felt
concerned
like a
about the
playoff
pitching,
game, but
right?
the rest
For
of
the
the series
postseason.
definitely didn't. Even in that last game, it was just both teams didn't look great, but you know what? We ended up getting the win in that last game of the series, heading into the Rockies, and man, was that a tough first game. Domo kind of threw away the game there on a double play, just tried to throw it way too quick and ended up throwing it out, and guy reached, they walked it off. Really tough. Any thoughts on that game? Just really, really frustrating.
Yeah, I thought, and we're going to get into this after we recap the series, but, Merrill Kelly pitched 6 innings, only had 82 pitches through 6 innings, and honestly was honestly rolling. And then he gets pulled out, and then Ginkel lets a solo shot, I think by Tovar, and that tied the game at 2-2. And then obviously that play in the bottom of the 9th to lose 2-3.
I don't know if you saw, but Merrill Kelly did.
Interesting take
Rockies
there.
D-backs game 1. Merrill Kelly cramped out. That's why he got pulled out. He was cramped.
Oh He did cramp out. Oh, I saw an interview that he said he could potentially go back out, but it was up to them. And I guess I didn't see him saying he cramped out. I thought he had the option to go back out, and Torrey didn't want him going back out. But Ginkel lets up the home run, and then
Ginkle's looked awful recently.
the error
I
by
don't
Perdomo
know what's going on with him.
kind of just it just hasn't been good. I mean, the bullpen. I mean, when you're running a 7.4 ERA,
Yeah.
there's usually nobody that's really good, and the only
And
guy
then
that has been good is AJ Puck. So, and then in that game 2, I mean, it's got to be the second worst free agency deal in all of D-backs history. Jordan Montgomery. I mean, he gave up 3 runs in 4.2 innings, 4 2/3. He was pretty good out of the bullpen, actually. And I think he had 4 starts out of the bullpen. And he was pretty good. He was pretty good in that Rangers game last week. I think he went 3, a little bit more than 3 innings and gave up 1 or 2 runs. But I mean, I don't know what to say, Lucas. I mean, it's just every time he gets on the mound, you kind of just know that they're going to have to
this
score
is a
5 or
really
6 runs
tough
to beat
decision
the
and
game.
place to be because, I mean, with Ryan Nelson out, who's kind of that starter, what are you going to do, right? And I don't know. I guess in hindsight, maybe you do call up a guy like Gilbert Diaz and potentially throw him in, and maybe that makes sense. But I guess in the moment, I'm not sure I would have disagreed with the decision to put Jordan Montgomery in. He's just been awful, but we still won 9 of 15 games that he started. So we can win with him pitching. It's not always pretty. Just a tough moment. Not just did not go great for us. I mean, we just did not look good. And offense too didn't look good. Then jumping into game 3 today, just kind of a dominant Erod performance. As we mentioned, 11 Ks. Did Corbin go house twice? He definitely went once. Did he go twice? Yep.
Yeah, Corbin 2 home runs and Randall home run. Bats were hot, obviously, today. The D-backs pulled up Blake Wilson and Scott McGuff, and they played in game 2. And I don't really know why Scott McGuff plays in the major leagues. He's one of the worst pitchers I've seen. I mean, he gave up 3 runs. I mean, I just don't know why he plays. It's kind of just, it's really pretty much a give up. It's just someone to throw the ball there at the end of the day.
Why not bring up another starter
in that game too
in place of McGuff and get that length there? I mean, that's what Blake Wilson is. He's a starter, a lefty starter. So I just don't understand what the point of McGuff was. I mean, you got guys, Gilbert Diaz, who's just kind of ready to go. I mean, he could play bulk relief innings or he could start too. I mean, you kind of have that. Yeah. Maybe they will do that in the future. So just questionable manager calls, I would say, the last quarter of the season. It's been a little concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we saw in the Rockies series, and I don't know what the aspect is in the clubhouse, but we get in some of these games where we're expected to win or they're expected to win, and they just feel like they have to go after every first or second pitch, and they get down in counts, and it's McCarthy, Gino, it's guys going after stuff that's unhittable, and they're getting behind in counts, and it's just not those patient at bats that we really like to see. That was the sense today. I was traveling today, but the last 2 days, which really what I saw was at bats that were just not patient. And those questionable managerial standpoints, one question I'm going to ask you is Herrera over Adrian Del Castillo. I get the pitching and I get the framing and the throwing guys out at second.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Herrera is an out. He's an out. I mean, he has not been good at the plate. ADC can hit
He's
the
a righty.
ball.
I don't think
He's
he
a
is.
lefty, which is opposite of
Or no,
Gabby.
he's a lefty, which is
I got to
and
ask
so
you,
is Gabby's a
do you,
lefty. So they're the same side. That's the point I was
Adrian
going to bring
Castillo
up.
is a
Is
lefty.
Herrera? No,
No,
I thought
Gabby's a
they were
right.
same. Can we figure this out?
Gabby's a right.
Because I swear I could be wrong. What's ADC? Adrian Del Castillo bat. Because I swear they were the same side.
In reference to that,
Um, I swear they're the same side, and that's why that decision was made. And I was going to go into that further. So he bats left, and does Gabby does bat right. So they are opposite.
they are opposite. The big thing, what I heard, is the defense. The defense and the framing is just not there for Adrian Del Castillo. And this is where we go back to, I know you're an offensive guy. I 100% support you in this aspect that, like, Adrian Del Castillo needs to be in the lineup over Herrera. And that really frustrates me that he's not. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't care. Like, Herrera gave up 2 steals in the game 2 of the
Yeah,
Rockies
I
series.
think
I mean,
the other
if we're going to give up
challenging.
steals, we might as well get hits.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there.
What's your thought
But
on
I
that?
also think there's ways to get more creative with this, and this is baseball. Like that's a bat we need in the lineup at least, and in the clubhouse, right? So I don't know if he can play any other positions, but most catchers can play third. Probably not first base. He's kind of looks like a shorter guy, but third base maybe you could situate him anywhere else, put him as a designated hitter, just find a way to keep his bat in the lineup or even in the clubhouse in any way, because that useful bat is going to come very handy. I mean, he's one of the best hitters in apart from his position, which is a catcher. So I don't understand why we don't have 3 catchers and just keep Carrera too. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense why we sent him down.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. I mean, and another thing I have is you have. This was looking at back yesterday. You lose the game 8-2. The bats were cold, and Torrey's this big guy on off days. You got 11 games left. Why is Ketel Marte not starting at second base in game 2?
Yeah, I
How?
agree.
I mean, at the end of the day, you got to win games, and when you're fighting for your life in the postseason, right now when you're sitting Ketel Marte, it looks like you're resting to be off in October. That's a little frustrating that he wasn't. He should be starting every game. I get he gets tired, and this is baseball, but he just came off a
Yeah,
very long IL stint.
the
He should
reasoning
be
I heard
resting.
is that they
He needs that back.
I don't know. They thought that somehow this kind of game would be there'd be a heavier statistical probability that Cattell gets injured, which I just don't know if there's any data for that. These games are do or die. I mean, you got to win these games. It's so funny.
Yeah.
This reminds me of the opposite of what Tom Thibodeau does, the head coach for the Knicks. He plays his starters like 40 minutes in regular season games, and he gets criticized for that. Like, why are we not criticizing playing our good players in big moments? It's just backward knowledge to me, or backward logic to me. So, and just a few stats to highlight. ADC in
Yeah.
the last 7 days, 5.56 average, 1.11 slug with a 1.667 1.67 OPS, which is insane. I mean, he's just been killing it, and he killed it kind of from the moment he called up, and he's just been continuing to kill it. Another player I want to highlight in the last 7 days, Grichuk, 625, 1625, and 2250 OPS, which is wild. I mean, he's been having himself granted, small sample size, but
That's nuts.
and then Pavin too.
I mean, that's nuts. Small
It's the
sample
last
size.
7
I don't know
days.
how
I
many.
don't know how
Is it
many
is
at
it
bats
at
he's
least
had in
10
the
at
last 7
bats?
days, but I mean, I don't care how many times you're
Probably
going up to
seen the
bat,
plate 10
unless
times.
it's like a 2.50 OPS is incredible. I mean, just insane. And then another utility player that has honestly been kind of keeping us afloat in the last few weeks has been Pavin Smith, 417, 500, and 1 OPS. So, man, he's been big, getting hits. Not necessarily as big of slug as the other guys, but really been a crucial part to our team. So, I think that's kind of, it's been a tough week, but what do you think we got looking forward for the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Diamondbacks, what is really concerning for me is the Mets, Braves, and Padres all have this kind of, the 12 games, and they all had an easy series. For the Diamondbacks, it was the Rockies. The Mets ended up sweeping the Nationals today, and the Braves have Marlins, and Padres have the White Sox. So those are 2 or 3 games that all those teams are probably going to take. Obviously, the Mets already won 3. The D-backs have the Brewers this weekend, 4 games in Milwaukee, and then they come home for the Giants and the Padres. I mean, you would hope, Lou, that the Brewers, with clinching the NL Central, that then maybe they're going to rest some players. Um, Obviously, they're close to that second spot. They're within 3 games of the Dodgers for that second spot for the bye, but I don't know. Maybe they don't even care about that. They're just looking for the third spot in the division leaders. So I'm
Yep.
really concerned. My level of
Yeah,
concern is
I think it's
high
gonna be tough,
for
but
the
it's
D-backs.
do or die here. Got to close out. I mean, these games are gonna be fun to pay attention to. I think I'm gonna kind of put baseball more in my um, primary thing that I watched this week. I think it's really time to tune into baseball. It's getting serious, so that's exciting. Even if it's not the Diamondbacks that end up getting there.
Yeah.
Um, with that being said, I say we go and jump into NFL. I'll kind of let you take over here. Just go ahead and pick out some comments or some games you have, and we'll talk about the Cardinals' performance.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about the Cards. A huge win, dominant win. Ended up winning 41-10. Um, what a game! I mean, it was pretty much over by half. It was 24-3. Marvin Harrison, have yourself a day. This is what happens when you give him the ball, Kyler. Defense looked pretty good.
It
I don't.
wasn't
How
much. I think
long
it
did
was
Cooper Kupp play for? Did he
quarter. I
play the
think
whole game?
one thing I want to comment on. I just want to say, do you
Was it
believe in
quarter,
Kyler
quarter and a
now?
half?
How much? What else does he got to show you? I mean, he's a potential MVP candidate in my eyes. The way he's playing with this offense. Yes, dude. Look at the stats. I mean, it's too early to speak,
Oh,
but
the stats are right. He's the only NFL quarterback with 2 or more touchdown passes and no interceptions. He has 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. That's a pretty crazy stat. Um, he looked good. I mean, he looked good against a Rams defense
he looked good
probably is
against
going to be right
the
around
Bills
league
too. I
average.
mean, it wasn't as great of a game,
He
but
looked
like
good.
he's an elite athlete, an accurate
He did.
thrower. He's got a little bit of power, and now he's got the weapons and a complementary running game too to do that. So, props to him. I think I've always believed in Kyler, as I've been um, pretty loud about that. And man, I think it pays off.
You've
Good
been pretty adamant about that.
things are looking good, and who knows where we'll land up. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself. I know I did a little bit with the MVP thing there, but I'm being serious about that. If he keeps this performance up, he keeps this performance up. You can't deny it, and it was the same 3 years ago. So we'll see what happens. And Marv looked great too. So just
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's looked great, and Marv's great. What I was impressed by was Greg Dortch. Obviously not going to be as big as a factor as him or Marvin Harrison Jr. or Wilson, but just a guy who runs his routes well. I saw an interesting thing. So flipping over to the defensive side, someone mentioned the hypothetical trade, and this is an interesting
Saw
take.
this.
Straight up, Buda Baker for Hassan Reddick. What are your thoughts on that? Honestly, I don't know how much it would really impact the defensive side. Obviously, you lose a huge secondary guy
So
to gain a defensive rusher.
I think on paper it
I don't
makes
know.
us a better
What are your
team. I
thoughts on
mean,
that?
adding a elite, I don't know about a borderline elite edge rusher would be really, really good. But I think it would be really bad for the chemistry of the locker room. I think Buddha is the guy that holds that team together. So
I think you
I
kick it
think
out of the
you do
clubhouse.
that trade, it's a loss for us. And the grand scheme of things, on paper, we probably get better. But man, Buddha makes big plays too, and
Yeah.
um, Dennis Gardeck is not ideal. I mean, he could be a number 2 or number 3 guy, but we're making it work. We'll try our best to figure out what we can do. Maybe we can trade for a lower caliber guy, somebody who's got good value. I don't know. We got to do something, but we'll see what happens. What's your take on it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking. Yeah. I think you're right. I think on paper it's right. On
Yeah,
paper it's a good trade, but I think in the clubhouse it's not. I think Buda Baker is the heart and soul of that defense. However much is left of it. I think this week will be a really good test for the defense. Jared Goff coming off a not so good game. Threw the ball 55 times last week against Tampa. So we'll see how much they can hold that team down. They got a lot of offensive weapons. Cardinals are 3.5 or 3 point underdogs at home on Sunday. So it'll be a good test. I think the offense should shine, but it's kind of going to be. I think it's going to be somewhat of a shootout
sure.
of
It's
how
gonna be
much
a
can the
good game.
Cardinals defense
I'm
kind
gonna
of
have
hold them
St.
down.
Brian's a little beat up, so see if Jared Goff has all of his weapons. Um, Excited for that game. I think it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm not gonna give a prediction. My prediction last week was so wildly off. I didn't think we'd be a good pick, so I'm just gonna kind of not touch it this week.
All right, so now we're going to get into a little bit more around the league. Raiders at Ravens. I know you missed some games in the afternoon. You were doing some traveling yourself. I watched this game. Gardner Minshew late played really well. Interesting stat I took here was when a team goes 0
Wow.
and 2, playoff percentages go down to 14%. There's a couple teams that are 0 and 2, but I think the Ravens will probably dig themselves out of this hole. I think they're maybe the one or them or Cincy will probably be the one or two teams that can kind of dig
Well,
themselves out of the hole.
one thing I
Chargers
want to
at
highlight in that
Panthers. Chargers
Raiders
win
Ravens game is Brock
23-3.
Flowers. Looks like he's the future of tight ends in the league. I mean, he looks really, really good. So props to him.
Yeah, he does. He does look good. He's could be a potentially big threat with him and Devontae Adams in Las Vegas. So that should be fun to watch for sure. Um, Chargers at Panthers, not a great game. I didn't see a lot of this, but
I think I'd
Chargers
rather.
ran the ball through the
Yeah,
Panthers.
I did see that. I
And
really
then
think
Andy
I'd rather
Dalton's going to be
watch a
starting.
women's basketball game than watch the Panthers play football. So I definitely didn't watch much of this game.
I mean, they're not great. That's just the fact of the matter, and it's really the offensive line. They're getting killed at the line, and Bryce Young can't do anything. So they're going to sit him. And the Chargers have Steelers Chiefs next 2 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see against really two good defenses
Yeah,
how that run game holds up and how Herbert plays. Next game, I know you're excited about this game, Lou. You're excited to see this because I know how big of a Cowboys fan you are. Saints at Cowboys. Saints win 44-19. Alvin Kamara, 4 touchdowns. This is another interesting stat I saw. There's only been 3 teams to score more than 90 points in
Wow.
the first 2 weeks, and they both won the Super Bowl. I think it was the 1987
Interesting.
Cowboys and the 2014 Saints. So I mean, just a little. If you're getting just a little spicy with
I
your
mean,
Super Bowl
that's
picks, Lou,
bold,
yeah, maybe you want to throw the
bold,
Saints in
but man,
there.
they look good.
I
I've
don't
been
know
really
if you
low
trust
on
Derek
Alvin
Carr.
Kamara, but I've been so wrong. So yeah, I'll take that one, the chin. I don't think anyone saw this team.
Yeah. Next game up is Bucks at Lions. They were big underdogs. Baker comes back, losing that playoff game in the division round just 7 months ago.
Wow.
Chris Godwin right now is the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy. So that was an interesting take. If you looked at the box score here, it looked like the Lions would have killed the Bucks, but Lions went 1 for 7 in the red zone. Jared Goff threw it 55
Yeah.
times. With Jamar Gibbs, I don't know why he's
Also,
throwing the ball
shout
that
out to
much.
Baker in that game. Won the game. Then I
So
watched in his press conference. Took responsibility for poor clock management, which I did agree with. On third down in that last drive when the Lions got the ball back. So respect to Baker. He's really not just improved, but also matured.
yeah, I mean he's really starting to show his true colors. And I said this at the beginning of the season,
Yeah,
Lou. I said I
I'm
love
on with
Baker.
you. I agree with
I
you,
think he's
man. I'm
finally
on
found
board.
his home in Tampa. Last week we thought this was going to be a blowout, and Colts at Packers. Colts end up losing
Willis.
10-16. Malik Williams gets the
Yep.
win. Had a touchdown pass. Malik Willis, sorry, I don't even know the guy's name. Josh Jacobs though really dominated. 151 yards.
Executed their game
Malik went
plan. Point guard.
12 for 4. Anthony Richardson, yeah, and Anthony Richardson, not the guy he was last year. Maybe after the injury, he's
Yeah,
not
I'm
looking too
still
good.
starting him in
They've
my
been
fantasy
really
team.
struggling on the
One of my
offensive side.
fantasy teams. That might change next week. We'll see what happens.
This is probably a game that didn't get a lot of attention. Browns at Jags, 18-13. You got the over here, Lou, with the in
They definitely don't
Jacksonville.
look
I
good.
told you this team would be a mess this year. I mean, they do not look good. Week 1, all that week 1, Watson kind of comes back. But really, it was the defense. They had a safety.
Yeah.
They really kind of turned it on to hold the Jags down. So, and then this game I actually watched a lot because I have a couple fantasy players on the 49ers. 49ers at Vikings. They lost 17-23. Debo got hurt. Christian McCaffrey didn't play. Vikings are
Sam
2-0 the
Darnold
last
and
2 seasons against the 49ers,
Derek
which is
Carr,
pretty impressive.
maybe MVP candidates. Who
Sam Darnold
knows?
played really well.
That's bold take. At this point, I mean, it's been a weird year.
That's a bold take, but Purdy had a tip ball for an interception. It's been a weird couple weeks, but I think the 49ers kind of bounced back. They just didn't look right offensively. I think
For
they need to
sure,
get
100%.
Jennings and Brandon Ayuk more involved. Um, kind of another game that probably didn't bring a lot of attention. Seahawks at Patriots. Seahawks ended up winning 23-20. No Kenneth Walker. Just the Patriots defense kind of just lackadaisical, and obviously their offense just is not going to get it done. So Patriots end up 1-1. Another game I watched, Lou. I don't know if you saw this, but Jets at Titans. This was closer than I thought it would be. Aaron Rodgers gets his first win.
That catch that
Brees
Rodgers threw
Hall
in
looked
was
really
incredible.
good. And was a nasty catch. And the Jets have Denver next week, so I'm going to count that as a W in my book. Giants at Commanders, 18-21. Jalen Daniels gets his first win as a Commander. Daniel Jones actually didn't look
Yeah,
too bad. I
yeah.
think the Giants organization is just in shambles. They might
I
be
yeah, I
they might be
agree.
up for grabs for the
I'm
worst team
also
in the
I hate
NFL,
the
right?
Commanders. I really think Cliff Kingsbury is going to waste Jaden Daniels' potential. Um, Man, his style does not work in the NFL. It's apparent now with Jonathan Gannon at the helm. This I've seen this play out. I mean, they might win a few games, look kind of good. At the end of the day, they're never going to be able to execute. I just don't like this Commanders team. I mean, they got the dub, but I don't think many more.
Yeah, I don't think that offense is going to hold up, which is good for the Cardinals in a couple weeks. They go there in 2 weeks. So this is probably the game of the week. Bengals at Chiefs. Bengals end up losing it late, 25-26. McPherson missed an extra point, like late third quarter, and they ended up, probably not. He didn't end up losing it, but that ended up missing an extra point. And then the big kind of controversy was the penalty late, but it was definitely a penalty. I don't know if you saw it. It was definitely a penalty. It was early contact. The Chiefs don't get away with it. This is a strategy they're using. I mean, if guys are, this was a rookie corner on him, early contact, and that's what led to kind of the game being, that close. And Jamar Chase hasn't looked really good. This contract talk. He has not been the guy that he was 2 years ago. And just a comment I kind of thought was,
Yeah, it's
kickers in the
incredible.
NFL are so good now. Like from 50 yards, it's just you got a top five kicker. It's almost automatic. If you're talking, I mean, McPherson, Buckner, the guy from the Cowboys. There's just some really good. Even Matt Prater from the
I mean,
Cardinals.
yeah, you're
These guys are
talking
really
about
good
there's
kickers. I mean,
one
from 50
position
yards, it's
in
probably going to go
30. Is there 30 teams in the NFL, right? Or 32? 30, I think. 32. Yeah, I mean, there's only one
in.
spot on each team, so uh, some of the best guys in the league. It's incredible. It's made the game pretty fun to watch.
Yeah. And again,
I
back to that stat. Cincy going to make the playoffs 0 and
I
2.
do believe
Teams that start
they've
0 and 2
started 0
only have
2 the
14%
last three
chance to make the
years in a row
playoffs.
now, so
So
which is very interesting. Uh,
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, get off to a better start. Someone play some preseason, please. Next game is Steelers at Denver. This was just a Steeler Nation gritty game. I mean, this game was. I think this team's going to refuse everyone to get into the end zone all year. Bo Nix obviously just not going to have a chance, and then Justin Fields not costing them the game. Played pretty well, just run the ball and getting into field goal position. So just a gritty game for the Steelers. They're 2-0.
of
And
course.
then the Sunday night game, Lou, which I'm sure you watched, Bears at Texans. Bears end up covering this game 6.5. It was 13-19. Texans win. Caleb Williams still
Matt,
thinks the
did you
NFL is the
see
Pac-12. He got killed by
the end
Will
of the
Anderson.
game? CJ Stroud went up to Caleb and he kind of gave him some advice, and Caleb just completely ignored all of it. Man, that terrible look for Caleb. I mean, he's very cocky. He's got really good stuff, but I think his mentality is awful right now. I think he's really going to struggle this year, and I think this team maybe I don't know. I don't think they end up bitching him because they suck. They're just going to want him to get the experience. But yeah, he's going to struggle. I think he's going to lose a lot of games this year. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean the comment at the beginning of the year to the punter was, "Hey, you're not going to need to punt a lot." That was pretty outlandish
Yeah,
because they have more yards in punting than they do in actual offense.
win
So,
a football game.
Caleb, why don't you calm it down there? I think this game might have been a little bit more of a bull. Yeah, go win a football game. I think this game actually probably should have been more of a little bit of a blowout if Mixon was in the game the whole time. He got twisted up early in the third quarter, and then they ended up running their backup. I want to say it's Cam Akers, but I'm not 100% sure. And he ended up fumbling the ball in the red zone. So, if that was going to Mixon, maybe they score.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, the Bears need to figure it out, but I don't think they will.
Don't.
That
Yeah, I
defense
agree.
is good, though. I mean, you got to give them credit. The defense is really good. And then Monday night, Falcons at Eagles. Falcons clipped the Eagles 22-21. That run defense by the Eagles not very good. Bijan Robinson and Algier just flew by them. Eagles had a 98.1% chance to win, but they played prevent defense. Lucas, why does anyone play prevent defense? What are we doing there? They let up so many
Also, run
yards
the
at the
ball
end
on
under
third
this
down with Saquon
prevent
Barkley. For
defense
my fantasy
form.
team's sake and also to win the game. Run the ball. I mean, that's ridiculous. Oh, yeah, and catch the ball. And catch the ball.
I mean, catch the
Yeah.
ball. How do you not run the ball there? If you run the ball, you have like 5 seconds, or you have like a minute 5 left.
Nah, you run
If
the
you don't
ball,
get it,
you get a
then you kick a
yard,
field
fourth down,
goal.
tush push, first down,
I
tush push,
mean,
another yard, do it again, touchdown.
yeah, this was. I'm sure a lot of people were very mad about them not making that because they would have covered. Um, and then Drake London game-winning touchdown pass. So yeah, it was an interesting week for sure. There was obviously, as we saw those lines last week, we thought it was going to be a lot of blowouts. And
Yeah,
honestly, as the
a lot
NFL
of parity.
comes, there's a lot of reverse, right? Cardinals, Raiders, um, who else? Falcons. Um,
Yeah.
what else? What else? Packers, Bucks. A bunch of teams that thought maybe we got to get blown out, but they don't. So
Yeah, it
I
was
know we
not
want
a
to do a little college
not a good
NCAA
week of
recap.
college football. There was not a ton of good
I know
games
you're.
on. Man, I think just
No, and I would say the best game was on Friday.
yeah,
I would have said the best game was on Friday,
didn't
and
really
it
watch
was
that
over
game too
quick.
much. I was kind of busy doing some other things, but it was over quick. U of A does not look good. ASU with a good win on Thursday night, right? And San Marcos against Texas State, kind of interesting. ASU really looks one-sided. They got a good run game. Not a ton else. Other than that, I think that ASU U of A game is going to be really interesting in November. And then that really close Georgia Kentucky game. Don't know why Georgia played like that. I believe we have a new first team in the AP poll, Texas Longhorns, who I've been very hot on. So I'm gonna stick with my prediction there.
Yeah, Texas. I like Texas, and I still like Ewers to win
Yeah.
Heisman. So that's gonna look good. Week 3
Man,
preview for
I
the
think
NFL. Any games you want
obviously
to
biased in
highlight,
saying this, but
Lou?
that Lions Cardinals game is going to be really exciting. I mean, a battle tested team now with the Lions versus kind of a dog and the Cardinals and a potential wagon. So we'll see if Kyler can continue to step up. I think Eagles Saints is also going to be a really, really good game. Just excited to see if the Eagles can bounce back. One thing I kind of want to say about the Eagles is, and I was thinking this today, they have not been the same since they lost Gannon. I mean, their identity hasn't been there. They haven't been able to fill the holes. I'm really starting to think that a lot of that success from that Super Bowl winning team, or was it do they just go to the Super Bowl? Do they win? I can't remember. In the Super Bowl was Jonathan Gannon. So
in the Super Bowl.
I'm almost favoring the Saints here. And then one more pick I think is going to be really, really interesting.
Saints there too.
I mean, you can highlight the Chiefs game, but everyone could do that every weekend. Is Texans and Vikings. See if Sam Darnold can put up another performance. don't know who's the dog here, but I would probably go with the. I think I'd go with the Texans. I mean, they've just
The
looked really
Vikings,
solid.
2.5. Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
Texans. I think
Yep.
Will
Any other
Anderson
game
guy,
you want
he
to
is
highlight?
good. I mean, he's really good. So
Should be a fun week. No, just the reference that there's going to be 2 Monday Night Football games. I don't know why. Maybe there's a scheduling error in the NFL, but Jags at Bills at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, and then
That's
Commanders at
exciting.
Bengals at 5:15 Pacific Standard Time. So be on the lookout for that. 2 Monday night games. Two kind of not so great games, but you know the Bengals should win and the Bills should dominate at home. So I don't know. Could be blowouts, but I obviously the NFL is different. And then a little week 4 preview for college. On Friday, Illinois takes on Nebraska in Nebraska. Nebraska's a big favorite at home, 2 ranked
Dylan
opponents.
Raiola.
That should be a good game. And then NC State,
Dude,
yeah,
basically.
I mean, he's what, Patrick
Mahomes.
Man, stop being
Yeah, he's
Patrick
also like
Mahomes, bro. You're not him. You're
18
not that
or
guy.
19. Crazy.
And then and then NC State at Clemson. I think both seasons are on the line for these two teams. This is a huge line. I think Clemson's 17.5 point favorites.
I
But
agree
I
as
think it's
well.
gonna be a little closer than people think. I think NC State's got a little something to prove. And Clemson's not too doing too good. And then Camden Katz gave me some
Did you hear that?
information that Alex Orji took over the starting spot for Michigan quarterback. So
I
USC's going to Ann
I almost
Arbor,
was going
going
to
to the
catch
big
a
house.
flight out to Ann Arbor and watch this game. I was invited by my family, but I can't miss the SMU versus TCU Iron Skillet battle in Dallas. So I'll be going there, but that will be an exciting game.
for sure.
And then last game, I think it's the whatever ABC game of the week, Tennessee at Oklahoma. I think Tennessee.
Yeah, I
We've
think
watched Tennessee for
their
3 weeks. I
quarterback's a
think they're going to
stud, that freshman.
steamroll Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And that Oklahoma defense is not very good. Just not a lot of pass rush. Safety corners aren't great. So I think this will be a pretty big rout for Tennessee. So that about concludes the kind of the football for the week and some previews. Looking forward to a fun week of football.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting here. I think sports, this is, I think, the part of the year when sports really start to turn up. Hopefully the D-backs can really push and make a playoff push, end up in the playoffs. So that's exciting. Obviously, kind of the early mid-season of the NFL starting, so that's really exciting as well. And NCAA matches, college football matches are starting to get into the conference play games. So super excited for everything. Hopefully we get some dubs with the D-backs this week.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think it'll be 4 games with the
Yeah, I'm
Brewers.
not going to jinx
I'm hoping we can
anything or
take
give
2,
any
Lou. I'm hoping
predictions
we can
because
get 2.
I don't even want to. I'm too nervous.
Do you have a prediction for this Thursday night football game? Going to be a gritty game. I saw on prime time television the last time the Jets beat the Patriots was
I don't know,
2008.
but
Is that
interesting.
Yeah, the line is -6 Jets. It's in New York. Can you give me a Patriots?
I don't really like either.
+6
If I had to
Jets
choose, I'd probably
-6
take the
pick? What are you
Jets. I know the
thinking there?
Patriots have been playing well, but I think the Jets really start to hit a stride here, and Aaron Rodgers starts to sling that thing, spin that thing.
I mean, yeah, I think so too.
I think it's going to be a gritty game. I don't like any sort of pick, so
Yeah, it's a
good
weird
luck to all
week.
you sports bettors out there betting on the Jets. divisional matchup. Those are always tough. So that's about it. We got some baseball coming up, some exciting baseball. Should be a fun week. Hopefully the
Yeah,
D-backs
it's
can
going to
kind
be
of figure
a
out the
good week,
pitching
and
and keep those bats
yeah,
hot.
let's get this dub. Let's SMU take this dub too. Oh yeah,
Agreed. Go Mustangs. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like
peace,
button.
brother.
And Lou, we'll talk next week.